Right, Assalamualaikum, very good evening to all of you. So welcome back to our class KSPS 714 for this evening. So basically last week we had discussed about your task as a student in the subject SPS 714 on human motor system. And then I have informed you regarding the assessment that you need to do. Okay, starting from last week, okay, you owe me 60%. Okay, as your assessment, okay, that you have to submit, okay, starting from depend on your quickness, okay, in completing, okay, the assignment. So basically, if I can remind you once again, okay, you have several tasks, okay, for this semester that you have to do, okay, with your partner. Okay, last week I have seen your list. Okay, altogether we have seven groups. Okay, good luck. Thank you for your task on that. Okay, you look around with among your classmates, even though you are separated between each other. Someone stays in Sarawak, someone now in Sabah. Okay, and most of them, okay, are in Peninsular Malaysia, but still scattered around, okay, the countries, okay, in the Peninsular Malaysia. So you have managed to get your partners ready, okay, for your assessment. So basically, if I can remind you once again regarding your assessment, okay, the first is you have to do your journal article review. Okay, so you have to do your journal article, sorry, you have to do your journal article. Okay, means that you have to look for a topic. Okay, once you got your topic, and then you have to inform me regarding your topic, and then we're going to discuss. Let's say if I'm going to approve or not, okay, on your topics that you're going to do. Okay, once you got your topic, you can start writing your introduction. Okay, inside your introduction, okay, you have to details out what is the purpose of your study, for example, a bit on your literature review, okay, on the topics that you're going to perform. And then if you can look some like novelty, okay, you have to include that. But if your studies have no novelty in that, okay, maybe because of you're going to replicate some other studies they have done earlier on, so you just mention in your literature reviews, okay, in the introduction part, and then followed by your methodology. Okay, means that how you're going to plan for your data collection. And then uh, once I approve that part, you can start collecting data. Basically, you have to look for a simple experiment, okay, that relates to motor control learning, okay, maybe related to biomechanics, sports biomechanics, okay, regarding how, okay, the participants is going to acquire skill better. In the meantime, you are going to relate, okay, your experiment to our subject, which is on the human motor system. So basically, this assessment for a journal article, okay, you have to write in, okay, in a journal article format. Okay, along the way during our studies, I'm going to give you, okay, some a bit of kind of guidelines on how to do it. And then basically, for this task, for your journal article, okay, you have to submit on the final week of the semester, basically on the week 14. Okay, ingat okay, you have to submit your journal article on the week 14. So now you have around 13 weeks to go. Okay, along the way, you have about 13 weeks to go. Okay, I'm not going to ask for your progress. Okay, but if you can progress very fast, okay, if you have done the write-up a little bit, and then if you want me to check, and then you have to submit to me, okay, by WhatsApp or by email, and then we can have some discussion along the way. Okay, by using WhatsApp, by using phone call, or I can set up Google Meet like this, and then we can discuss, okay, your progress, okay, on your write-up of your journal article. So that's your task number one. Okay, your task number two is today I'm going to give you the topic for your chapter presentation. Okay, your chapter presentation based on chapter two and three. Okay, you have to present. Okay, during our lecture session, there will be some time given to you to prepare, and then basically the deadline for this presentation is will be after we have your test later on, maybe on week 8. So class rep Zulfadli, please look at the calendar when is week 8. Okay, you inform all students regarding the date, okay, for the presentation, and then we're going to set up similar presentation like this, okay, if we are still not allowed to come to the campus. All right, your second presentation, okay, will be followed after your first presentation. Okay, once all group finish presenting chapter 2 and 3, and then we're going to follow up with the chapter 7 presentation. Okay, today I will give you the topics later on, and then you have to prepare, okay, a 2-page summary of your chapter 7 presentation, and then you have to present to the class, okay, regarding what are the current research issues, okay, that is related to human motor system, okay, that you have to present during our lecture session. Okay, first you have to do journal article. Second, you have to present chapter. Okay, third, you have to present on the current research issues, and then you have to perform lab practical. Okay, depends on the situation. And then lastly, you have to sit for a test. Okay, and then that will makes up your 60% okay, of your continuous assessment, okay, for this particular subject. And then the rest 40% is depend on the situation, whether you have to come to the faculty to sit for table tests, or we still have to conduct the test online, like what we did, okay, previously, okay, during the last semester. Okay, because of COVID-19, we have to conduct all final assessment online. So it depends on the situation. Okay, class, before I proceed, okay, if you can look into your WhatsApp group, okay, I have attached this file regarding SPS 714 chapter presentation topics. Okay, the first one over here, central components of the human motor system, is on the chapter 2. Okay, under chapter 2, there are 3 subtopics. Okay, level controls, ascending and descending tracks, and then mechanism of involuntary reflexes with the motor system. And then if we can see over here, this one is chapter 3, higher level of control within the human motor system. Okay, we have role of central nervous system, role of cerebral cortex, and then we have role of cerebellum, and then we also have the last one, motor adaptation and modification for skilled movement. So altogether, okay, in this class, okay, we have 7 groups, okay, and then I give this responsibility to you, okay, and to your class rep, how you want to allocate, okay, the subchapter to the 7 groups. Either you want to go by numbers, or you want to do your pooling system later on. Okay, boleh ya class rep nanti handle macam mana you nak bagi topik ada 7, okay, to the 7 groups that you have inside our class, okay, for this semester. Next week, okay, if you can do that today before we finish our class, okay, you just put inside the WhatsApp group regarding because for one group you only have 2 person, so you just put the name of the person, the name of the student, okay, like this. Okay, boleh? Alright, itu task pertama. So this is a topic, the subtopic for your chapter presentation. Okay, all together we have 7 subtopics under chapter 2, and 3. Okay, and then we have another one. Okay, this is the topic for your second presentation. Okay, you can see over here we have 7 topics which is related to human motor system. Okay, your task is later on you try to do it once again. For example, Ali and Abu. Okay, so I know that Ali and Abu is doing the first topic. Okay, basically you can see there are several topics over here: perceptual and cognitive expertise in sport, dynamics of skill acquisition process, anticipation until we have development of peak performance in sports. So your task is you have to look for journal article that relate to these topics. Okay, you prepare a slide presentation. Okay, you also need to prepare a 2-page summary of your presentation. Means that based on the slide that you prepare, you try to write, okay, in an essay format. Okay, how you want to describe, okay, this topic. So basically look for the relevant articles that relate to your topics, and then please look, okay, for a relevant and also up-to-date journal article. So basically maybe you can put 1 or 2 articles that dated in below the year of 2000, but mostly please look for article from the year 2000 and above, okay, until 2020, for example. Okay, please look for the relevant articles, and then please look for a very updated articles which relates to your topics, okay, for your presentation. So basically, this topic is based on chapter 7 in our syllabus. Okay, you have to write a 2-page summary of your presentation and distribute to all students. And then you have to present your findings for 5 to 10 minutes, including Q&A session. So before this, I mentioned to you, your first presentation will be on week 8, okay, or week 9. And then on week 10 or week 11, you're going to start with your second presentation. Okay, do you all clear, class, regarding the task that you have to do for your presentation? All right, kalau clear, okay, I'm going to, so before that, do you have any question to ask before I proceed with our lecture? You can turn on your mics, don't worry. Any question, class, regarding the task that you need to do?
Sir,
Yes.
so far kita ada 2 task, task yang pertama dan task kedua. So
Okay.
task pertama depend pada yang tajuk tadi, and task kedua depend pada tajuk ni, betul?
Okay, yang task pertama, okay, task pertama based on these topics. Okay, your second task is based on these topics. Okay, yang task pertama tu chapter 2 and 3. Okay, your second task is based on chapter 7. Okay, the issues, the current research issues, okay, that relate to our point of interest, okay, in human motor system. Okay, look for a relevant article and look for a very updated articles, okay, based on our topics, okay, on human motor system. All right, any more question that you want to ask regarding your assessment? I think all of you clear regarding what you have to do. And then, okay, by next week, okay, I want to see the topic, okay, of your journal article, okay, by next week. Okay, maybe you can discuss among your partners later on, okay, what you want to do, your simple experiment. And then if you have your topic already later on, okay, maybe we can discuss, okay, by next week. Okay, if you allow me to show a bit on the example of experiments that was done before this, okay, by your seniors. Okay, if I can open up the file that I have here. Okay. Okay, class. These are example of journal article. Okay, I did the same to you like what I asked you to do. I did my masters in my masters was on Master of Science in Human Movement in University of Western Australia in Perth. Okay, at the year of 2006. So that's the year I did my masters. So this is my original journal article, okay, that I did last time. So your task, okay, is similarly like this. Okay, means that once you got your data, okay, you have to for example, once you got your data, you have to write in the abstract, okay, and then this one is the introduction part, background of the study. You have to details out what is your main ingredient, okay, for your title, for example, and then you have to state the purpose, okay, the methods of what you want to do, okay, the procedures, your data analysis. If you are using some simple statistical method, okay, pakai ANOVA ke, pakai PET-T-test ke, whatsoever, you have to inform that. Okay, you have to state your results like this. Okay, if you have the p-value, just mention it. Okay, for example, okay, you have to show graph or you want to use tables. Okay, it's up to you. Make sure your graph is complete, ada title and so on. Okay, you have to explain a bit on your result that you got. And then some tables, if you want to show some tables inside there. And then you have to discuss your findings. And then you have to write your conclusions. Okay, last but not least is your references. Alright, clear? Boleh kan? Just simple je. Okay, but simple pun it will cost you 20%. Okay, don't take things for granted for this one. So you can easily score 20%, okay, for this particular assignment, okay, your journal article. And then if you have some appendix, okay, that you want to include, okay, basically your appendix, maybe your score sheet or whatsoever, your instruction that you give to your participants and so on. So this is what I did before this during my studies, during my master's level, okay, in UWA, back then in the year of 2006. Okay, sekarang 2020, lama lagi. Alright. Okay, okay, if we can continue with what we have left since last week. Okay, semua boleh nampak slide ni? Okay, good. Basically, we have discussed about, okay, last week we have discussed about the introduction part of motor control learning. So you know that motor control involves your neural, physical, behavioral aspect of your movement. So right now you are sitting down. Okay, kalau dulu saya mengajar dalam kelas, I will be standing, walking around during my lecture, and then I can use my physical movement as the best example how I control my body. Okay, based on what I see inside the classroom. Okay, based on where you sit inside the classroom, and then based on the pathway that I can move inside the classroom. Okay, but now, okay, all of us, okay, are sitting down, okay, on our chair. And then during my lectures or during your, when you want to give some explanation, maybe we have to use our imagination a little bit on how to express, okay, the example of motor control and so on. So basically right now, all of us is sitting down, okay, on our chair, and then our head is looking to the screen. And then basically for me right now, I'm using two computers. Okay, I have with me right now, you can see I'm using two computers. Okay, the first one is my desktop, and the second one is my laptop. okay, for speakers and also for microphone. Basically, for my desktop, I used to show you this slide, okay, by using the desktop. So you can see sometimes my head is looking here, okay, sometimes my head is looking to another monitor. So how I switch, okay, my head positioning, okay, my laptop is positioning to the left, and then my desktop, okay, is positioned to my right. So I have to switch, okay, between laptop and also desktop. So this involves how my neural capacity, okay, based on the stimulus that I need to perform, okay, later on. Let's say if I want to use the mouse for my laptop, okay, I will hold this, okay, I will grab this, okay. If I want to use the mouse for my desktop, I have to use this mouse. So if you can see, right? So during my lecture, okay, I have to know how I gather this neural information, okay, that leads to my physical movement. And then based on what you see in your screen right now is my behavioral aspect of my human movement, okay, during my lecture. Okay, you're not going to see my lower limb movement because of the the camera is only my to chest, for example, to the chest level. But during our class session, okay, physically, basically you're going to observe my behavioral movement, okay, during I give lectures to you. Okay, you can see I'm moving to the left, okay, to the right, okay, I'm moving to your table, for example. So how I control my physical abilities so that I can proceed during my lectures, okay, to all of you. So this involve the motor control aspect. And then we relate to that, okay, in order for me to perform that movement, okay, during my early childhood, okay, I learn, okay, on how to do simple movement like walking. So maybe all of you now, your average age is about 25, for example. Okay, you have been walking. Okay, you dah tahu cara nak berjalan. Okay, starting from the age of 3, for example. Okay, during that time, you observe your parents is doing physical movement. Okay, during your observation, okay, you try to look for visual, okay, based on what you can perceive from your surroundings. Maybe you see that, okay, in order to perform movement, in order to perform walking movement, okay, you have to step, okay, you have to step your leg left, right, left, right, left, right, for example. So this movement, okay, sometimes it's a discrete skill. Okay, you just know how to step one step further, and then you fell down. Okay, from one step further, okay, one step on your right, on your right, for example, you're able to continue on your left. So one discrete skill on each limb, on both sides. Okay, for example, on your right, perform one discrete skill, one simple movement, followed by another step on your left. Okay, another simple movement until you're able to do continuous movement. So remember the motor skill categories. Okay, for example, we have discrete motor skill, we have continuous motor skill, and we also have serial motor skill performance. So how you want to combine discrete skill so that it can become a continuous motor skill. So how does your abilities get to combine distinct discrete motor skill to become serial motor skill? Okay, for example. So these are the things that you need to know how to gather from your studies during your degree level. Okay, right now, okay, it will be more based on your cognitive abilities on how you want to gather all information so that you can bring forward, okay, these issues so that you can able to help coaches on how to design a very good training program. And then based on the design that based on the training program that you're going to design, how you're going to monitor that, okay, by using your abilities, okay, in this subject, okay, for example. So there is motor learning, and then a bit on motor learning, motor control, and motor development that we have discussed last week. Okay, I think I stopped here last week regarding how motor control and learning is being used in sports science, for example. Focus on understanding the process of executing movement, how you execute your movement performance, okay, with how you the abilities of you to acquire your motor skill abilities, okay, for example. So this regarding motor controlling in sports science. Okay, based on theories of um, motor learning control, for example, okay, these are the constraint on human motor performance. Okay, for example, influences on how we perform motor skill. So basically, in any motor skill performance that you're going to perform, okay, let's say right now you are sitting down. Okay, maybe afterwards, okay, you are going to play football. Okay, like me, after I finish my lecture, I will go home driving. So driving is considered as motor skill performance. Okay, right now, inshallah, the weather is good, not raining. Okay, and then why I say regarding the weather, because of it will govern my performance environment. Let's say if you play football, okay, in football, okay, last week I did ask you to explain in writing, okay, why do you love to play that sport, for example. Okay, very a job well done by all of you, congratulations. Okay, and then a bit more that we want to continue by this week, for example. Let's say if you are playing football, for example. Okay, in football, there are numbers of motor skill performance. Okay, for example, kicking, running, juggling, dribbling, heading. Okay, for example, throwing. Okay, these are example of motor skill performance. So every time you want to perform that motor skill performance, okay, this will depend on the skill task. Okay, let's say in kicking, okay, what is your purpose of kicking at that particular time? Okay, the skill task. Okay, over here is task. Okay, the main word here is task. Okay, what is your current skill task? Okay, for example, okay, what is your task at that particular moment? Sorry, what is the purpose of the skill of that particular moment? Let's say if you want to kick the ball, okay, are you going to kick the ball to your teammates? Are you going to kick the ball just for clearance? Or are you going to kick the ball, okay, to score goal? So this will reflect to the task that you need to perform. So based on the task, okay, that you need to do, okay, you also need to consider what is your performance environment. Okay, for example, let's say let's say the task is you want to kick the ball to score the goal. Okay, what lies in front of you at the moment, for example? Okay, what lies in front of you at the moment? Okay, let's say if I can provide some pictures. Kicking. Okay, nampak tak gambar ni? Okay, so if you want to relate, okay, the constraint on our human movement, for example, the first one we have task. Okay, second we have environment. Okay, third we have organism. Okay, let's say the task here, let's say this one is the, let's say this one is the kicker. Okay, basically you can see from this picture, okay, this person want to kick the ball to score the goal. So the task is kicking the ball to score directly to the goal, for example. So what lies in front of the kicker? You can see the environment. Okay, there are many defenders. Ada 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7. Okay, there are 7 performance influencer depan dia tu. So how does the kicker want to deal with this constraints that can move all the time? Okay, Second performance environment in this example is that the grass. Okay, grass. Kalau tengok dekat gambar ni, we can see the grass is good. Maybe pakai artificial grass for example. Kalau let's say you play football in Malaysia, okay, not so many field are using artificial grass. Jadi pakai cow grass for example. Okay, and then this will affect the movement of the kicker from starting, moving forward to the ball, and kicking the particular object. Because of the movement will be a bit hard okay, to perform the movement. Right, you can see over here, okay, the environment is the person that lies in front of the kicker. The kicker is going to perform kicking task. And then, for example, if you can relate back to this diagram, you can see the last one is the person or the organism. Okay, basically, if you want to use this picture, for example, okay, maybe the location of the ball, the location of the ball, you can see the ball is here. Towards the goal post is about, for example, is about 20 meters, for example. Okay, does this person, okay, have the abilities to perform a kick for 20 meters? So does this person have enough lower limb strength, okay, to do it? Okay, or does this person kicking performance is very accurate? Okay, that relates to the person or the organism. So the role of you as a coach later on. Okay, maybe some of you right now is a football coach, bicycle coach, for example. Okay, whenever you want to give instruction, okay, to your learners, okay, to your participants, for example. Okay, let's say you want to give the person a task, for example, you have to dribble the ball. Okay, pass five defenders. So the skill task is dribbling. Okay, the performance environment is, okay, you have to pass 5 defenders. So if you want to make the performance environments even more challenging, maybe for the first trial, okay, you ask that 5 defenders to not moving, static. Okay, once he got through the movement correctly, okay, you try to increase the difficulty. Okay, daripada 5 static, you ask the first one to move around. So the environments become more challenging. But it depends on the person. Does he is able to do that? Okay, for example, that depends on their physical capabilities. So these are the constraint or influence on how we perform motor skill performance. It will relate to our task. Okay, it will relate to our performance environment, and it also will relate to us, okay, as the performer. Kalau kita relate, okay, this motor skill performance just to us, okay, as performer, every time we want to do that skill, so these are the things that we need to consider. Okay, if we want to relate ourselves as a coach, instructor, and so on, these also the things that we need to consider before we start giving instruction. So we need to know our learners is able to do it or not, or we just want to challenge him, okay, to do that particular task. Maybe if he or she have difficulties in doing that task, maybe you can change a little bit on the purpose of the skill, okay, so that the skill still can be performed. Or maybe you want to change their performance environment. Kalau tadi masa tengok gambar tadi, okay, you notice that the ball is located 20 meters to the goal post. And then maybe you want to play around during the training. Okay, daripada 20 meters, you try to replicate that particular situation. Okay, from 20 meters, you dekatkan sikit bola tu dengan goal post. Okay, 5 meters ke, and then you increase to 10 meters, you increase to 20 meters, and then you increase to 25 meters. Okay, so that the person knows how to use information from his or her environment so that the skill still can be performed in that particular way. Okay, boleh? okay, influences on how we perform motor skill performance. Okay, try to relate to yourself. Okay, try to relate to yourself if you are going to involve with coaching, for example, or if you're going to relate as a skill acquisition specialist that will help the coaches on how to design motor skill learning perfectly later on. Okay, based on this diagram. Okay, boleh setakat ni? Alright, next we have the complex system theory. Okay, you can see how does this integrate, okay, between each other. Okay, movement emerge spontaneously. Okay, everything that we do, okay, emerge, come out, okay, spontaneously from the interaction of the individual, okay, the task, and also the performance environment. So you can see the movement inside here. Okay, try to think that, okay, what is your movement? Let's say if you want to compare your car driving skill, let's say if you have two different environment. The first one is during hot weather, second one is during raining season, for example. Okay, maybe your environment is different, but you are still able to do your movement because of you know how to integrate, okay, between your capabilities. Okay, contoh. Okay, based on this complex system theory. Okay, next we also have this diagram to show it to you. Okay, let's say before this I mentioned to you regarding the individual, the task, and also the environment. Okay, basically the individual, okay, this depend on his or her sensory motor capabilities. Sensory, how does he is able to perceive information based on their sensory feedback capabilities. Okay, based on their perceptual capabilities, okay, what will be their motor output, okay, later on. Regarding their psychosocial state, okay, interaction with others, teammate, interaction with other opponent, for example, okay, based on their cognitive abilities. Okay, you notice that to become a very good sports performer, okay, in sports world, for example, the athletes need to think very fast, okay, compared to a normal person, okay, because of the stimulus that we receive. Sometimes we have to process in a very fast motion, okay. It will requires a very uh, powerful brain capacity in order to integrate the information so that we can deliver the motor output, okay, very fast, okay, in that particular way. So this will relate to the cognitive abilities. And also the last one, the stage of motor learning. Okay, maybe you remember that motor learning stages, we have the cognitive stage, the first one. We also have the associative stage, and we also have the autonomous stage, okay, as the stages in motor skill learning. Right. Okay, this based on individual. You can see next one we have on the task. Okay, taxonomy of the task. If you still remembers, kalau kamu ada buku Tex McGill tu, yang motor learning control by Richard McGill, you can flip through dalam subject motor skill learning, for example. Okay, there are 16 categories, okay, of taxonomy of tasks that was proposed by Fleischmann, for example. The first one, static movement, requires no physical movement until the last number 16 requires movement, okay, for example. So this refers to taxonomy of the task. Okay, either the task is discrete, okay, or the task is continuous. Okay, try to remember that. Try to remember back what is discrete, what is continuous movement, and does the task requires attentional demand. Okay, for example. Okay, what about environment? Okay, physical environment, raining season, hot weather, for example, snowing. Okay, that you have to consider. Okay, socio-economic of that environment. Okay, you play football in the rural areas. Okay, will be different from you play football in the urban areas, for example, that based on social economic. Okay, what about cultural environment, for example? So these are the things that you need to consider, okay, that relate to movement properties that lies in this segment, the small segment here. Okay, right. We proceed a bit more. Okay, if we want to integrate, okay, what we have discussed before this, okay, we have the task. So this is related to constraint on movement organization. Basically, constraint is the task, environment, and also organism. So how does this will lead to movements constraint? Okay, based on this triangle, okay, you're going to perceive information from your environment, and then you're going to plan for your action. Okay, once this is being performed correctly, you can see a very directed goal behavior or goal directed movement behavior. Okay, for example, okay, your task afterwards, okay, try relate to the sports that you mentioned to me inside your class forum, and then try to have some understanding. How does, okay, this constraint on the movement organization relates to the sports that you play the most, or relates to the sports that you coach at that particular moment. Okay, for example, okay, just to increase understanding of your knowledge on how to become a very good coach, on how to become a very good performance analysis, for example, on how to become a very good parents. Okay, when you are getting married later on, because of you will involve with your children, okay, later on. Okay, that based on the organism, okay, in that particular sense. All right, this one I will skip regarding ecological dynamics that based on ecological psychology and also dynamical system theory in that particular sense. Okay, any questions so far? Any questions so far? Ada soalan? So far so good? Tengok tangan sikit. Okay. Okay, we take 5. Take 5. Okay, class. Okay, we come back to our lecture for today. Okay, sebelum ni I just informed you regarding the introduction part. Okay, now we are going to move into chapter 1. okay, you can see some information is similar to what I have discussed with you regarding the introductory phase on motor control and also human motor system. So basically, on the first chapter, it only described on the historical overview of understanding skilled movement production. So basically, you can see from this picture, you can see we have our former world number one, Datuk Lee Chong Wei. Okay, you notice that his movement capabilities on the court is very okay, he able to change direction very fast. Okay, his skills very good. Okay, doing smashing, jumping smash, and so on. Okay, basically, if we want to relate his stages of learning, okay, he is located as the extreme right end of the learning continuum. Okay, kalau the level expert, okay, beyond that particular expert. Okay, because of he have been in the expert stage for very long. So during this stage of learning, so he keep on learning, and also he keeps on improving on the skill that he perform, okay, particularly every day. So you can see, okay, his movement is considered as a very skillful movement production, okay, in that particular stand. So for for the first chapter, okay, we're going to discuss, okay, some historical overview based on the scholars in motor control learning, okay, that explain how does motor skill can be performed, okay, in very quality performance, okay, for example. Right, okay, if you can see, okay, right now, okay, these are some theories of motor control, okay, that was proposed by scholars. Okay, it have definition and level of analysis. Okay, what about neuro facilitation approach, task-based approach, complex system theory, reflect theory, for example, and based on motor hierarchy. So these are what we're going to discuss later on in our lecture based on this topic. Okay, the discipline of motor control is the study of human movement and the system that control it under normal and pathological condition. Okay, kalau normal, okay, is like this. Okay, all of you are normal human beings, okay, without any disease and without any musculoskeletal injuries. So we are able to perform motor skill in a very normal fashion. Okay, but if we have some disease, okay, if we have some injuries, okay, this is considered as the pathological condition. Okay, for example, okay, for those who involved with therapies, for example, if you involve with coaching, sometimes your athlete, okay, will be injured. So during your rehabilitation stage, so how you want to control, okay, their movement so that there will be no overuse injuries afterwards. So how you going to give modification of your training, okay, to that injured person so that he able to perform a very skillful motor control, okay, that particular aspect. So these are the level of analysis, okay, environmental result of the movement, okay, what will be the outcome of that particular movement, okay, how you going to assess their movement pattern, and then what is the neuromotor process underlying that particular movement performance. So these are another overview of motor control. So basically, motor control emerged from two isolated bodies of knowledge. Okay, the first one, neurophysiological approach. Okay, you can see from the word neural mechanism, neural process associated with movement, but not movement itself. Basically, okay, what you will going to perceive from your surrounding based on the sensory feedback that you have, okay, inside the body. Okay, for example, if I'm going to hold this particular object, okay, the mouse. Okay, you can see my tactile information from my skin is going to observe, sorry, my visual skill is going to observe this particular object. You can see this object is small, okay, and then my visual skill will see the shape, okay, a bit edge over here, for example. So when I want to use my hand, okay, particularly my fingers, for example, I'm going to see the shape of this particular object so that I'm going to hold this object, okay, effectively. So these are the things that I will consider based on the neurophysiological approach, okay, that will produce my movement later on. And then motor control also relates to psychological perspective, okay, that concern to the neurological mechanism based on human performance. Okay, maybe you have seen this figure before this. Okay, you can, for example, the reflect theory that was proposed by Charles Sherrington by early 90s, for example. Okay, when you hold a candle, a very hot object, okay, your hand will be, you're going to take away your hand, okay, you're going to retract, okay, your movement, okay, very fast. So because of, you're going to receive information from your tactile information. For example, okay, this movement is considered a danger state, okay, to your body. So because of you sense that there are, okay, your fingers is going to approach to a very hot environment condition, for example. So these are the things that sometimes, okay, your body system is try to react very fast, okay, based on this reflex theory, okay, for example. And then we also have the hierarchical theory, okay, for example, okay, we have 3 levels of processing of information, okay, your cerebral cortex, okay, your brainstem, and also your spinal cord, okay, that will be discussed, okay, very thoroughly, okay, inside chapter 2 later on, right? Okay, we also have this complex system theory, okay, for example, we have task, we have individual, and we also have environment, okay, in that sense that we have discussed before this. And then we also have discussed about the constraint that will govern your movement performance, okay, in order for you to perform a very skillful goal-directed movement behavior, okay, based on this diagram. Basically, this diagram was proposed by Newell, okay, model of constraint, okay, of human performance. Right. Next, we have these factors within the individual task and also environment. Okay, what you're going to perceive, okay, what you're going to perform based on your physical surrounding, okay, that relates to your environmental perspective. Okay, if you want to break it down a little bit, okay, basically for the individual, it will relate to your cognition, perception, and also action. Okay, if you want to relate environment to another perspective, okay, if you still remember regarding regulatory and also non-regulatory condition. Okay, kalau regulatory aspect that will give effect to the performance of the skill. Okay, for example, okay, the RC. Kalau kamu tengok mouse ni, okay, RC is, for example, the first RC is the shape of that particular object. Okay, it will give effect to my finger, okay, when I'm going to hold this particular object. Okay, kalau compared to this remote, okay, the shape of these two objects is different. Okay, you can see in your opinion, okay, based on your visual capabilities, okay, which one is heavier? Yang putih ke yang hitam? Based on your visual skill. Mana lagi buat, putih ke hitam? Okay, for example.
Putih.
Apa dia?
Hitam.
Ada yang kata hitam, ada yang kata putih.
Hitam.
Alright. Ada kata
Putih.
hitam, ada kata putih. So based on your visual capabilities, okay, some of this, the black object is heavier than the white object. Okay, based on my visual capabilities and based on my proprioceptive capabilities, okay, when I'm holding this particular object, okay, the black object is much more heavier than the white object. So it means that you over there, okay, is only using your visual capabilities. For me over here, I'm using my visual capabilities and also I'm using my proprioceptive capabilities, okay, to detect the weight of that particular object. Okay, so for RC, okay, the aspect that will give effect to the skill, for example, the size, the shape, okay, the weight, the speed, okay, the direction, and also the height of that particular object. So this refers to RC. Okay, boleh? Ada 6 tu, for example. Okay, non-RC, for example, color. Kalau ni warna pink, ataupun warna biru, ataupun warna merah, warna kuning sekalipun, it will don't give any effect to my movement because of color is a non-RC. Okay, for example. So itu you have to differentiate regarding RC and also non-RC. So if you want to separate the task a little bit, okay, either when you want to perform the skill, okay, it requires body stability. Okay, body stability, for example, kicking, sepak bola kan. Okay, sometimes you have to kick a static ball. Okay, you have to be stable. Okay, you have to be not in motion. Okay, sometimes you have to produce certain mobility. Sometimes you have to kick the ball which is moving. So you have to move to the ball. Okay, you have to move in direction with the ball, for example. That requires mobility. Okay, once you want to kick that particular ball, okay, this will involve your manipulation, okay, of that particular object. Sama macam tadi juga, ada mouse depan mata saya. Okay, once I grab that particular mouse, what I want to do afterwards? Nak baling ke? Nak baling kat kamu tapi tak kena, for example. I want to click that particular object. So this refers to manipulation of that particular object. Okay, try to relate to your sport setting. How you can integrate this information in providing a very good coaching lesson to your particular learners. Okay, for example. Right, next we have the neural facilitation approach. Yang you can read through on your own. Okay. Okay, motor relearning. Okay, task-based rehabilitation. Okay, sometimes when you involve with injuries, for example, okay, you have to regain your locomotor function back. Okay, kalau dulu you're able to walk on your own, okay, once you got some injuries or you involved with accident, for example, okay, you impact your limbs, and how is your capabilities to regain that locomotor function. So this refers to motor relearning task-based rehabilitation. Okay, how you want to perceive, okay, based on that particular performer, okay, based on that particular task, and based on that particular environment, okay, based on this particular chapter. Okay, so that we can recover our normal function very fast. Okay, maybe some of you right here is a coach to a football team. Okay, sometimes your players got injured, and then you have to produce training that involved with their rehabilitation process. So how you want to produce a very good instruction case strategies. Kamu nak suruh dia buat pergerakan. Okay, how is your instruction that you're going to say to that particular person? Let's say by using instruction, okay, he's not able to do it because of he or she cannot understand what you said, for example. So how you're going to show some demonstration on how to do it. So this also involved with motor relearning strategies, okay, that we discuss, okay, in our syllabus. So this is some overview regarding motor control and motor learning. How does this motor control and motor learning integrated between other sports discipline that relates to biomechanics, physiology, psychology, education, and also engineering. Okay, why engineering involved? Okay, because of in our area of study, okay, sometimes we have to produce software or tools that can be useful to our coaching session, for example, okay, in that particular sense. Okay, these are the things that we are going to discuss later on, okay, in chapter 2 regarding your central nervous system structure. Okay, you know that CNS is controlling your skill movement. Central nervous system is known as the executive function, okay, in your processing system. Okay, role is to give command, okay, to your working muscle so that you know how to produce certain skill. So basically, this is the pathway, okay, from your CNS, okay, transferred to your brain and spinal cord in order for that your stimulus that you process okay, can be channeled back to the working muscle, and then you can see on your own, based on what you own, what you're going to do afterwards, okay, based on your movement that you plan, okay, inside your brain, okay, for example. Okay, these are theories that you have learned before this during your undergraduate level. So basically, the theories, okay, used to describe and explain how our nervous system produce movement, okay, of motor skill in a variety of environments. Okay, you notice that we've talked about environments many times. Okay, because of you have to know the importance of environment, okay, to motor skill learning. Maybe you haven't noticed this area very well, okay, but you have to take consideration why environments become very important factors to perform motor skill performance. Okay, because of sometimes, okay, let's say if we as a coach design our training program, okay, our training program, okay, is being conducted, okay, not similarly to what is being performed during the game situation, okay, because of he doesn't know how to bring forward, okay, what will happen during the game situation to your learning situation. So it means that once you get used with this normal learning process, okay, once your learners is going to move into competition level, so he will be not ready, okay, to this new environment. So that's why you have to know how to use task representative design, for example, okay, so that what is going to perform during the game situation is also being replicated during learning situation. So that's why we have to know regarding the motor control theories. And then under motor control theories, okay, there are two issues of important. The first one is coordination, and the second is the degrees of freedom. I'm not going to explain more details about this. Okay, you have to look on your own, okay, how to describe, how to understand regarding coordination and also degrees of freedom. Okay, for example. Okay, maybe you have looked before this. Okay, kalau ingat lagi. Okay, first one we have open loop system. The bottom one we have closed loop system. Okay, how you produce movement. The first one tak ada feedback. The second one you have to rely on feedback. This one involve fast movement. This one involve movement that requires movement modification. Okay, change. For example, this one involve throwing. Okay, as for example. Okay, a bit more on motor control theories. Okay, we have motor program based theory. We also have dynamic pattern theory. Okay, this one is being touched during your undergraduate level. Okay, we have again on this area of study based on ecological dynamics. Okay, that relates with ecological psychology and also dynamical system theory. So how does this ecological dynamics is being governed to the constraint on movement performance? Okay, for example, we have task, we have environment, we also have the organism, okay, in that particular sense. Next one, we have the nervous system. We have peripheral nervous system, we have central nervous system. How does this governs your movement performance? Okay, that relates to your movement skill production. And then again, relates to your CNS, okay, the brain structure. Okay, how does we channel information so that we can produce a very good movement performance? Okay, again, regarding the central nervous system, you're going to receive information, you're going to transmit information, okay, you're going to integrate that particular information, okay, there will be a transition period, and then you're going to transmit information again to your effectors so that you can see movement performance, okay, in that particular way. So this is the process, okay, that you need to know and you also need to understand, okay, very well. Okay, basis of neural processing involve reception, transmission, transformation, integration, transition again, and also transformation of motor impulse. So basically in this area, you can see a very good movement performance. Okay, this area, you can see how well are you in receiving stimulus, okay, based on your particular environment, okay, in that particular sense. Okay, again, this one, CNS, okay, the structure of the brain that will be discussed later on during your presentation, chapter 2 and 3. Okay, some diagram to show to you how does you produce movement, okay, based on your sensory input. Okay, you can see there is a glass of water in front of you. So what you want to do with that particular object? Kalau nampak objek depan mata, for example air, you're going to take that particular object by using your hand. So how does your sensory input integrate so that you can see a very good motor output, okay, on your particular limbs, okay, in that particular sense. Okay, this one, another example that relates to sensory neuron and also motor neuron. You receive and then you respond, okay, in that particular sense. Once again, this picture just to show you reflex system. Okay, you can read through on your own later on. All right, I think this is the last slide, okay, for this week. Okay, all right. Do you have any question before we proceed with another task, okay, for this week? Basically, I think for chapter 1, it's a bit straightforward, just regarding the historical overview based on the motor control theories that were proposed by the scholars in this area, and then what are the things that we're going to discuss, okay, along the way with our syllabus, okay, during the whole semester. Okay, now I'm going to open for discussion. If you have any question regarding your chapter, this one on chapter 1, or if you want to ask anything regarding your assessment that you need to do, you can turn on your mics. Any question, class? Tengok mata dia mengantuk tu. Adik. Sengguk dia. Semua dah ada topik kan untuk mini eksperimen?
Belum lagi, Doktor.
Okay, basically for your journal article tu, jangan buat yang terlampau ekstrim sangat, libatkan ramai-ramai peserta, libatkan budak sekolah ke, itu kalau boleh elakkanlah, okay, because of we not going to apply for ethical clearance, okay, in that particular sense. But if you have access, okay, to that particular group, contohnya you involve with day-to-day training dan sebagainya, kalau ada consent you can proceed, kalau tak ada jangan buat. Okay, please look for the easy part of collecting data. Okay, what I want to see not only on the participants of your research, but on how you organize your writing, okay, based on our topic of discussion, okay, that relates to motor control learning. Alright, any other question that you want to ask? Ada yang duduk Kedah? Kedah, Perlis ada? Fazwan, boleh? Kedah, Perlis?
Saya Doktor. Please.
Perlis
Ya.
Ya, Selangor kesian lah, PKPB sekarang. Hari
Doktor.
Hari Khamis dah kena kerja dari rumah.
Doktor, yang
Yes.
genetika tu kena experimental atau boleh questionnaire?
Dua-dua boleh. Kalau you boleh buat eksperimental lagi bagus. Tapi kalau you dah buntu sangat tak boleh buat, you nak go to questionnaire pun okay, tak ada masalah. Yang penting nak tengok the way you write and you organize your article correctly.
Boleh buat untuk daily routine tak? Macam sitting position something like that.
Boleh.
Okay, thank you Doktor.
Right. Okay, kalau kamu nak dapatkan idea, alright, kalau dekat Okay, if you have time later on, go to Google Scholar, look for my name there. Okay, ini contoh-contoh jurnal yang saya buat bersama rakan-rakan sekalian. Okay, daripada tahun terkini 2020 sampailah ke tahun saya start kerja tahun 2007, tak ada paper lagi. So I started writing actively from the year 2009. So yang ni tadi ni kan yang kamu tengok yang contoh saya bagi tadi pasal jurnal artikel. So these are the list of my articles. Okay, you can see the articles are mixed between motor learning, motor control, biomechanics, injuries. Tengok musim dulu-dulu macam mana. And then now, you can see the trend now. I only concentrate on this area of study on compression. Basically, my PhD was on effect of wearing compression garments on skill performance in football. Okay, if you look through inside my Google Scholar, tak jumpa pula teman semiotics. So basically I concentrate on studying the effect of compression shocks. Okay, compression shocks, okay, to skill performance in football. So by using compression shocks, it will produce better stimulus detection capabilities. Okay, kalau tadi I mentioned to you, okay, when you want to perform some movement, okay, you're going to sense for stimulus. Okay, basically kalau we doing some movement of walking, okay, kalau walking, our foot, okay, kaki kita ni akan start dekat surface. So when we start on surface, okay, the receptors on the foot will sense the positioning of the foot, okay, on how to produce a better movement coordination afterwards. So basically, okay, scientists nowadays are searching for device, methods, or materials that it can improve the perception capabilities of stimulus identification on our limb muscle, on our lower limb muscle. So basically, by using compression material, okay, it can improve our somatosensory feedback, okay, to the brain. Kalau tadi kamu tengok ada sensory, ada output. So by using this material, sensory capabilities become better, and then the motor output also become better. So basically, these are the use of scientific study in this area of knowledge. How we want to improve skill acquisition process, on how we want to improve skill performance process among our participants or among our athletes, okay, in that particular sense. So if you can see later on inside my Google Scholar, okay, some journal article that I produced with my colleague, and then along the way, okay, for this year, I have about I have about 6 articles already, okay, that relates to motor control learning and also some innovation, okay, that I come up with my colleagues, okay, on this area of study on the visual assessed trainer. So you can read through and have some idea on what you want to do afterwards regarding your journal article. And then kalau kamu tengok ada on chapter 7, okay, maybe some of your topics, kalau kamu dapat topik tu, ada sebenarnya study yang related, okay, in that particular sense. Okay, along the way during our lecture, during our discussion or during our class, okay, sometimes I will pop out. For example, I will take out one journal, let's say this one. Okay, I will ask you to work with your partner, and then we're going to discuss. In that sense, we're going to do a bit on the literature review. Okay, what is the main important ideas, okay, in that particular journal, okay, for example. Alright, any questions so far? Mungkin kita stop dalam 7.30. Okay, we have about
Hello.
15. Yes, proceed. Haziq.
Boleh nak tanya, kalau untuk kita punya data collection tu,
Okay.
berapa yang doktor terima participants? Berapa minimum berapa minimum?
Okay, because of this is not not so scientific study, so you tak perlu nak buat G power, tak perlu buat. Let's say we just want to get the idea of your task that you need to perform. Kalau contoh macam participants you want to compare, contohnya you nak compare 5 versus 5 pun okay.
Oh, 5 boleh.
Tak perlu cari 30 lawan 30, tak perlu. Okay, because this is not the real exercise for you to do your dissertation. Okay, this is just considered as a mini experiment under our syllabus. Alright, any other question that you want to ask? Okay, dalam future ni yang belum klik attendance, Alistair. Alistair dah?
Ada.
You tak boleh klik lagi? Dekat future. You tak boleh access ke macam mana? Yang belum klik Alistair, Alan, tadi Adib ada problem, dia dah mention. Dengan Rezlan, last one Balkis. Okay, attendance ni dibuka sampai pukul 8.15 kot. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, so you can still click. Okay, kalau kita buka balik course forum minggu lepas tu yang that I asked you to do. Okay, Nakib. Okay, you're playing rugby. So he mentioned regarding the skill rugby, there are some skill that requires open skill movement. And then rugby requires cognitive effort, okay, because rugby is a very fast game. And then motor skill rugby involve running, passing, kicking, tackling, and etc. And then if we have, if I want to take another example that we have. Okay, we take Hanis. So Hanis, she played badminton. So badminton involves a lot of footwork. So you notice that footwork training is very good for badminton because of sometimes, okay, you are not aware, okay, what is your opponent will perform when you hit the shuttlecock to him. Okay, for example, because badminton is a very fast game, and then it requires a very complex movement coordination. So means that, okay, for badminton performance, okay, the task a bit more challenging, okay, because of you are only allowed to move in a confined space. Tempat kamu sempit kan, okay, and then you have to use implement. Okay, what implement is that? You have to use racket. Kena pegang racket. Okay, and then you also have to do perform interception. okay, between the racket, okay, to the shuttlecock. So involve movement, okay, involve object manipulation, and involve another object manipulation. So that's why playing racket sports is one of the example that we can use to explain why racket sport is very challenging, because of it requires very fast movement, it requires another implement, and you also requires another implement that you have to overcome. And then your eyes have to look, okay, carefully, okay, to your opponents, and then you have to try to do some anticipation. Dekat mana bola tu nak pergi selepas tu. So you have to predict, okay, very fast. So very good, this one. The explain regarding badminton study. Okay, next. Okay, next we have, if I can take one more. Help me. So Helmi is a physiotherapist, for example. Dia dulu main basketball. So he's mentioned regarding basketball that he used to play. And then for basketball, it requires coordination, a very good footwork, okay? And then because of basketball, same like badminton, okay, it requires very fast motion. It requires a heavy object that you need to manipulate. Bola basketball is heavy compared to football ball. And then you have to throw, okay? Throw that requires your muscle strength. Okay, regarding your movement, how you can relate to the organism itself. Okay, and then how does it relate to environment, okay, in that particular sense. Okay, class. Okay, basically this is not a task for you to do inside your class forum, inside your course forum. But what I want you to think about it, okay, for this week is that, okay, how to relate the constraint on movement organization. We have task, okay, we have environment, okay, we have organism. Okay, how does this relates to the sports that you wrote inside your course forum? Okay, maybe next week, okay, I will want you to explain a little bit. Okay, I will give you some times, maybe 2 minutes each. Okay, we have about 14 students. Maybe I will give 2 minutes each for you to explain. How does constraint on movement organization, okay, is reflected, okay, to the sport that I'm involved the most, okay, for that my sport that I play, okay, badminton ke, bola sepak and so on. Okay, boleh? Okay, for this week, first, think about the constraint on movement organization. Second, think again regarding the topic for your experiment. And then, class rep, nanti bagi-bagikan topik untuk presentation. Okay, once everything is going through, okay, we will perform, okay, the assessment that you need to perform during our lecture session, okay, time by time. Alright, any other question that you want to ask before we start for today?
Doktor,
Yes,
saya lebih pada coaching, should be okay kan?
apa dia?
Saya lebih pada coaching kalau nak relate dengan how does concern on in movement coordination.
Boleh. Okay, kalau you right now you become a coach, okay, it's more direct forward approach because of you experience yourself as a coach, how you want to deal with your participants, okay, by relating to the principles, theories that we have in our syllabus. Okay, how you want to use that? Kalau dulu you just use your experience, now you have some additional knowledge, okay, in our syllabus. So how you want to integrate that? Okay, how you want to bring that information to your coaching session? Okay, for example. Okay, means that you try to enlighten your session. You want to increase your session to become more meaningful to your participants. So how you want to integrate the information, okay, in that particular sense. So that's the use of our syllabus, okay. Kalau you become a coach. or right now you already a coach. Kalau for those who was not, for those who right now is not a coach, okay, try to think, okay, you as a skill acquisition specialist, what you can give instruction to the coaches, for example, what you can give feedback to the coaches so that the coaches can modify a bit, okay, his or her training session, okay, to his client, participants, so on. All right, any other question that you have in mind before I start for today? Ada soalan lagi kelas? Okay, video lecture ni saya akan edit dulu and then I will put inside our Facebook group maybe tomorrow or a day after tomorrow, that maybe you can recap back what we have discussed, okay, for this week. Alright, kalau tak ada apa-apa lagi, thank you to all of you for your participation. Okay, next week all of you will speak for 2 to 5 minutes regarding constraint on movement organization. Okay, please prepare your text. Kalau you tak boleh cakap spontaneous, you can prepare your text. Okay, jangan pula teks kamu tunjuk dekat saya. Doktor baca dah sendiri. Itu tak boleh lah. Alright. Okay, you can discuss among your group partners, your members inside your WhatsApp group. Okay, if you have anything unsure about your studies, then please contact me ASAP. Right, thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Alright, bye.
Bye. Thank you.